everybody, it's me, Shell360, and sorry if I sound a little weird. I just ate some really spicy food, so I'm probably gonna cough and whatever else, but don't worry about that, because I don't have to be clear of throat in order to be able to communicate what I need to about A Chance of Love, Season 2 of Love by Chance. Let me start out by saying I realize that a lot of people who watch my channel have no interest in boys' love. I get it. This is not for you. That's why I clearly put out that this is a BL rant. But there's a few of you who rock with me when it comes to the boys' love thing, and so I figured, you know what? If you rock with me about the boys' love thing, you might have a good time with this conversation, because last night I watched episode 1 and episode 2 of A Chance of Love here on YouTube. YouTube is not the official place to watch these shows. You're supposed to watch them on WeTV, and then next week they're going to be on Viki. But Mame gets money from me legally watching her shows, and since Mame is trash, I decided I wasn't going to give her any of my money. So yeah, instead I decided to bootleg them. And let's start with a little backstory for you in case you've never seen Love by Chance. I'm going to do the best I can, but really you would benefit from this conversation if you've already watched the first season of Love by Chance. Love by Chance is a story written by Mame. I think the original title is My Accidental Love Is You. And it's about a guy named A and a guy named Pete who fall in love with each other, and then, you know, kind of the course of their love story through trials and tribulations. And then there's a secondary couple, Tin and Can. Tin is a rich boy with a bad family history. Can is homely and dumb. And then there is a last minute couple thrown in the very last episode, Kinkla and Techno, and they're literally thrown in at the very last minute, so there's not much to say about their relationship because there was none for the majority of the show. Well, Love by Chance was massive. It was the first boys' love I ever watched. Perth and Saint, who played A and Pete respectively, became big stars with boys' love. People really enjoyed them. They made a lot of money on fan meets and merchandise and all this other stuff. And it started a new boys' love wave. But then shenanigans go on. The people who manage Perth and manage a couple of Perth, Gunn, Mark, I think Perth, Gunn, Mark, and Plan, I believe, are all managed by the same management team. I could be wrong, not sure. And their manager was talking cash shit about Saint behind the scenes, spreading rumors, keeping him from being able to do certain endorsements and commercials, like just really screwing him over big time, to the point that Saint was like, fuck you, I'm never going to do anything having to do with this show ever again. I'm never coming back. And you know what? I don't blame Saint. I would do the exact same thing. There's no need for you to allow people to diminish your humanity or cast aspersions against you or treat you like anything other than what you deserve based on your behavior. And he didn't misbehave. He didn't wrong anybody. He was ultimately the most wronged person. So I totally get why he wouldn't come back. But here's the thing. A and Pete were the main couple, and anyone wanting to watch a season 2, we want to see a continuation of A and Pete. And since Saint was not coming back as Pete, rather than recasting the role, which, I mean, some people probably would have had a problem with, and I totally get that, instead, they just decide to run with the breakup narrative. Now, in the books, A and Pete do break up after a really wild storyline. Like, Pete gets kidnapped by Pete Trump. Pete Trump beats him up, steals his money, tries to rape him. A rescues him. Pete Trump goes to jail. Pete's father comes into town, finds out his son is gay and has a boyfriend. He ruins A's family's business, puts them in debt, kidnaps Pete, convinces Pete, like, either come with me to Germany for 2 years or else I'm going to do even more damage to your boyfriend. And Pete breaks up with A to protect him from the machinations of his father. That was a big mouthful. I get it if you can't follow me all the way on this. So they decide to pick the story up where Pete has left and A is alone. And this is where the big problem starts for me with season 2. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever heard of the show 2 Moons 2. If you watch Boys Love, you've probably heard of 2 Moons and 2 Moons 2. There were some issues with the cast of Two Moons. I don't know what the issues were, but the director decided they were going to recast the entire cast. Like, everybody was being replaced. And when they did Two Moons 2, which is the second season of Two Moons, it was all new lead characters, all new side characters. Everyone was played by somebody different. People liked the Love by Chance story, but they really liked the people who play the characters. And so perhaps the directors and Mame and some other people were like, we cannot do this show without having some of the same actors. But A and Pete are such a big dynamic that unless they're going to give a different love interest or something, it makes no sense to bring back Perth and not have Saint there. It makes no sense for A to spend an entire season being alone. Like, it's asinine and it's stupid. But what even makes it more of an issue is that the show starts out, I guess, present day, and then it does a time jump back in time 3 months. And 3 months before the present day, A has been dumped by Pete. But Tin Can, which is the secondary couple, have never met. This is so fucking bizarre. Imagine, if you will, you're watching a television show and you have two characters who have gone through an entire season together, loved each other, fought with each other, had this big blowout and that was left on a cliffhanger, and you come back the next season, which is supposed to be the continuation of everything, and it's the same actors playing the same characters, but they don't fucking know each other. That is exactly what happened with Chance of Love. And according to what's been said, Mame made the executive decision that because Pete is such a vital part of the storyline for Tin and Can, that she couldn't leave the story where it stood. She had to go back and basically give everybody amnesia and make it to where these two have never met. It's lazy fucking story writing. Like, are you that pressed for ideas that you can't even find a workaround for one particular character? It makes no sense, and honestly, it betrays the audience. When you have an audience that is so invested in a cliffhanger and then you act like that cliffhanger never fucking existed, that's really a betrayal. That is a real betrayal of the people who followed your storyline, invested in your work, and wanted to see it come to fruition, wanted to see it come to its ultimate climax. So, fuck Mame for that. Another reason why I'm bootlegging. But then, I told you about Kinkla and Techno, the couple that really wasn't a couple until the very end of the last season, like the last episode of the last season. They became a couple because Techno came home drunk one night, like blotto out of his mind, almost blackout drunk, almost choked on his own vomit drunk. And he ends up having sex with Kinkla. Or I should say, Kinkla ends up raping him because Kinkla has anal sex with Techno, and the next day when they both wake up, Techno has no memory of them ever having sex. Is a person who has never had sex before. And he's awkward and kind of like, what the hell's going on? Kinkla says, oh, you took my anal virginity. I can't ever go back to women. Take responsibility for what you did. Which is crazy because Techno can feel that he was the one who was penetrated. Anyway, if we're gonna give people amnesia and rewrite history and act like nothing ever happened, that event I just described to you would absolutely be the event that we would be like, okay, let's just pretend nothing ever happened and we'll just start that over and make things right and not use rape as the opening line to a romance story. No ma'am, no sir. No ma'am, no sir. The first follow-up we get to Techno and Kinkla's story is that Techno was walking down the street and he gets a phone call from the man who raped him, and he says, I don't want to answer the phone. How do I tell him it felt good? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? In the last season, you didn't even know what happened. You did not even know what happened. And now all of a sudden we're rewriting things so that it felt good and you liked it. It was a good time. You're embarrassed because of how much you liked it. So I'm bootlegging. So I'm not watching it through legal streams. I refuse to give that hoe money. I shouldn't call her a hoe. That's not right because there's nothing wrong with being promiscuous as long as you're safe. But I'm not giving that woman any more money. Not a single legitimate view. Because it's like she is completely blind to what's important. If it's about the story, cast new people. If it's about trying to right your wrongs, rewrite the story. But to rewrite the story because you're not willing to recast, but then not rewrite the things that are extremely problematic that people have brought out to you over and over and over again, why are you like this? And another character who I'm concerned about because of what I've heard, Tull. Tull is the brother of Tin. I'm sorry, Tun, I think is his name. He's the brother of Tin, because Tin Can, that couple. And he has been replaced. The actor's been replaced with a much younger actor who really doesn't look old enough to have a wife and kid. His backstory is a really brutal backstory, and I talk about it more on Mason's channel. We're going to have a MAME video that we're going to be uploading that we talk a lot about, like, really destructive tropes in MAME's writing. But at one point, this character engages in anal sex with his best friend, and rather than use the proper tools and techniques to have this sex, he manages to somehow injure his partner to the point that blood is used as the lubricant. And it's disgusting and it's gross, and a person like that should never be redeemable. But you know what MAME decided to do to get you on course for redeeming this character? They replaced the old actor who looked like an older man with a young actor who's handsome and cute, because cute boys can't rape anybody. Cute boys aren't sexual assaulters. It's just, it's fucking gross, man. It's really fucking gross, and I see what you did. Hopefully the storyline gets changed. Hopefully they don't actually use that part of the original story that she fucking wrote out of her sick, disgusting mind. But, like, recasting the actor to have a more attractive, younger actor in order to pull off this really gross, upsetting storyline, again, that woman's mind, I'm not giving her no money. I'm not giving her no money. I'm not giving her no money. And I'll be bootlegging Tharn Type 7 years later as well, as I hear there is a gang rape scene in that, which, again, why the fuck would you do that? But I'm pissed. I'm pissed that these are the things that she's decided. There's so many chances to do better. If you're a creative writer, if you're a writer worth your salt, if you've really got that kind of imaginative mind, you can write your way out of certain corners. You can write your way into different outcomes. You can see another path. But if you're just some old tropey, hacky, doesn't really have talent type of writer, you don't know how to write yourself out of these corners. And MAME is proving over and over again that she's a fucking hack and she can't do it. And that's the reason why she totally fucked up the timeline for Love by Chance. Nothing fucking makes sense anymore. She doesn't take out the romanticization of a rape victim. She's fucking awful. She's fucking awful. And honestly, the gay men who watch MAME shows, I really hope that you are vocal about how she cast your community, because she has made it to where she's trying to normalize incest. Tum and Tar in the books are biological brothers, and one is lusting after the other. How fucking sick is that? She tries to normalize incest as a part of gay culture. She tries to normalize rape as a tool for romance in gay culture. She normalizes domestic violence as seen with Tharn Type. She just is a fucking monster, and we have to quit giving her money. We absolutely have to quit giving her money. And like I said, me and Mason talk a lot more about just like her overall bodies of work, but watching A Chance at Love and seeing the setup over 2 episodes, already this is going to be a shit show. Also, just on a personal level of like television show production and enjoyment, the show looks fucking awful. It's lit terrible. People's makeup looks bad. People's skin looks bad. The guy who plays Can has got these new fake teeth that make him look awful. He can't act his way out of a paper bag. That's a fucking fact. Watch him cry in the first 5 minutes. It is some of the ugliest crying you've ever seen. It is edited in a really funny way. The storyline is really hard to follow because she made such a weird choice to totally disconnect the timeline. And yeah, it's not even enjoyable. Like, one thing I will give to Love by Chance, there were some really enjoyable moments where things weren't being incredibly toxic. Pete and A's relationship, for instance, had some moments where it wasn't incredibly toxic in the show. But this show so far isn't even enjoyable. Like, it doesn't have any of the charm. It doesn't have any of the sparkling innocence. It doesn't have any of that stuff. Oh, quiet as it's kept, because Mason brought it up in our video. Apparently, at one point, Pete gets raped by A. Fun. That's what people do in love, right? Fuck that lady. Fuck that lady for real. Fuck her, fuck her, fuck her. Fuck, fuck, fuck. You're a bitch. I don't like you. Eat a dick. But anyway, I just wanted to have that quick rant out there because I just don't like this lady. I think that she's a terrible person. I think the material she writes is terrible. I think that the boys love community needs to turn on her ass and act like she needs to be treated like a social pariah, and we need to act like we've never heard of her and make sure she doesn't make any more money until she starts making changes. I'm willing to see her redeemed because these are our fictional characters. But even though they're fictional characters, the fact that this is where her mind goes, I'd like to see her change her mind. I'd like to see her actually have a little bit of integrity and do something different. But until such time, make her go fucking broke. Fuck that bitch. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.